Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into something I know a lot of people are excited about. Suzanne Collins' new Hunger Games prequel, Sunrise on the Reaping.
Oh, yeah, big news.
Huge. But here's the twist.
Hmm.
We're not actually reviewing the book itself today. Instead, we're diving deep into a really thorough review of the book.
Gotcha. So we're kind of extracting the key takeaways from the analysis for everyone.
Exactly, giving you the shortcut to understanding what this big release is all about. And, right off the bat, this review gives it a really strong score, a 9 out of 10,
Wow, okay. That definitely signals it's a significant return to Panem.
for sure.
So our mission here, for you listening, is really to unpack why it's getting that praise. What makes this fifth book feel powerful, relevant? What new layers does it add?
Right. And we'll touch on those big themes, power, spectacle, memory, but always through the lens of what this specific review highlighted.
Sounds good. All insights drawn straight from the analysis.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Panem's past. This is a prequel, takes us back 24 years before Katniss,
Right, before the original Hunger Games.
and it centers on a really pivotal moment, the 50th Hunger Games, which is also known as the Second Quarter Quell.
Ah, yes, the quarter quells, always something special and usually something worse.
Exactly. And what did the review say makes this Quarter Quell stand out? Its defining feature.
Well, the defining characteristic, the really brutal part, is the rule for this specific quell. Each district had to send 2 tributes of each gender. 4 tributes total per district.
4 tributes. Wow.
Yeah, so you're instantly doubling the number of kids in the arena, doubling the bloodshed.
That just immediately raises the stakes, doesn't it? It's not just more tributes, it's fundamentally crueler.
Absolutely. The review frames it as a calculated escalation. It really changes the whole game, forces tributes into an even more impossible situation. It hints that maybe the capital was trying to crush any remaining spirit in the districts.
Grim stuff. Okay, so structurally, how does the novel handle this? Does it follow that familiar pattern, switching between the capital and the arena?
It does, yeah. The review confirms it splits the narrative between the capital's internal politics and scheming, and then the harsh reality of the arena itself.
Okay, standard structure then.
Okay.
But the review mentioned a new central character from District 4, I think.
That's right. And it stressed that this isn't Katniss, it's not Lucy Greybeard either, a completely new protagonist from District 4.
Interesting. And what's their role, according to the review?
Well, their perspective is apparently key. It allows them to challenge the capital's official story, the narrative they push, in some unexpected ways. It sounds like a really interesting angle.
That does sound promising. Okay, and we can't talk about a prequel without talking about Coriolanus Snow. He's in this one too.
He is. But remember, this is decades before he becomes the president Katniss knows.
Right, this is earlier Snow.
Mm.
What does the review say about his portrayal here? Still charming? Or is the mask slipping?
Well, according to the analysis, his character continues to evolve, but maybe evolve isn't the right word. It's more like deepening into something more disturbing.
Disturbing how?
The review describes it as a grim portrait. It shows how things like charm, privilege, ambition, how they can sort of calcify over time,
Huh.
harden into actual cruelty.
So it's really digging into the roots of his tyranny.
Exactly. The origins. How does someone become that? That seems to be a central question.
Okay, makes sense. Let's shift to the themes then.
Hmm.
Collins always explores power, control, rebellion. Is it more of the same, or does the review point to anything new?
Well, those core themes are definitely there. You can't have Hunger Games without them, right?
Right.
But the review really emphasizes a deeper, maybe more complex moral ambiguity in this one.
Ambiguity in what sense?
Specifically around resistance, it asks, what happens when fighting back against oppression has a really high personal cost? What choices do people make then?
Ah, okay. So it's not just black and white, hero versus villain.
Seems not.
Right.
The review connects this directly to the new protagonist's internal struggle. That constant battle between sheer survival and holding on to your moral compass.
That sounds heavy. And what about the spectacle? The games as entertainment. Still a focus.
Oh, absolutely. The review says the book really interrogates how entertainment is used to mask cruelty, how spectacle makes people complicit.
Which always feels relevant, sadly.
It does. And related to that, there's a strong focus on trauma, not just individual trauma for the tributes, but collective trauma for the districts and how that shapes people and, fuels these cycles of violence.
Doesn't sound like she's shying away from that tough stuff.
Not at all.
And there was another theme the review highlighted, something about memory.
Mm-hmm.
and controlling the story.
Yes, and this sounds incredibly relevant: memory and narrative control.
Okay, explain that. How stories are used to manipulate.
Exactly. How those in power rewrite history, how they craft narratives to shape the truth or what people perceive as truth, controlling the past to control the present.
Wow, yeah.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, the review really underscores how timely this feels. In our world of propaganda, misinformation, social media,
You can see the parallels.
right, it makes you think about the stories we're told and who's telling them. The review suggests this gives the book a powerful resonance right now.
Definitely food for thought.
Hmm.
Okay, let's talk about the writing itself. Collins' style. Is it still that sharp, fast-paced, almost cinematic style we know?
It is. The review confirms it's still got that sharp quality, really good descriptions mixed with fast-paced action, keeps the tension high.
The
But it also notes something more, maybe a matured emotional depth compared to the earlier books.
matured how?
A colder tone, perhaps?
Uh,
More reflective, which makes sense, right, for a story that's exploring these morally gray areas between heroism and tyranny.
That fits.
And the review also mentions the dialogue, sparse but effective, and apparently a really chilling use of internal monologue, especially for showing a character's moral compromises. They're unraveling.
Sounds intense. Okay, so wrapping things up a bit based on this review, who is this book really for? Who should be picking this up?
Well, the obvious answer is fans of the original trilogy. They'll likely find a lot to dive into here.
Makes sense.
But also, the review suggests it would appeal to readers interested in, say, political thrillers, general dystopian fiction, or even just really strong character-driven drama.
Okay, broad appeal then. But are there any, warnings or caveats? Is it suitable for everyone who read the originals?
That's a key point the review makes because of the darker tone, the heavier themes we've discussed. It's probably best suited for older teens and adults.
Right.
People who are ready for a more morally complex version of Panem. It's not exactly light reading. It demands a bit more from the reader, asks them to grapple with some tough questions.
Good to know. So the final verdict from the review. Sounds like it was overwhelmingly positive.
Absolutely. Hailed as a triumph, really. Both as a gripping story, a dystopian adventure, but also as that sobering commentary on oppression, on power.
Yeah. It sounds like Collins has done it again, making us think about her world, but also inevitably about our own.
That seems to be the core message from the review.
Okay, so just to quickly recap for everyone listening. The review highlights the brutal second quarter Quell, this compelling new protagonist challenging the Capitol, Snow's chilling backstory, and these really profound, timely themes of power, spectacle, and who controls the narrative. Sounds like a major addition to the series.
Definitely sounds like it based on the analysis.
Lots to chew on there.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, stemming from that theme of narrative control. Considering what the review suggests the novel explores about memory and storytelling, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
How much of the truth that we encounter every day, whether it's news, entertainment, history as it's taught, is actually a carefully constructed story? And what's our responsibility, Our responsibility to dig deeper, to figure out where these stories really come from and what purpose they serve.